Welcome. Today we're going to take a look at the built-in mod player on the C64 Ultimate. We're going to look at some key commands that aren't readily apparent, and we're going to look at the program that was used to put this feature in the C64 Ultimate. So to start off, you don't have to have Ultimate Audio or the REU feature activated to use this. So to show that, I'm going to go into our configuration and I am going to disable those options. So with those options disabled, I'm going to navigate to a directory that has a mod file. I'm going to pick this one called affair.mod. It was featured in my C64 Ultimate versus Amiga video. If you haven't watched it, I'll leave a link up there for you to check out. So this is a good example mod to use because it only has 3 instruments that are mapped to the same channels throughout the song. So voice 1 and 2 is going to be piano. Voice 3 is going to be the recorder playing the melody, and then voice 4 will be some strings. And it's a very slow piece, so it's very easy to listen to and hear the changes that we're going to be toggling. So I'm going to start it. I'm just going to hit play mod. And notice that at the very top of the screen, it says that it detected the REU and it detected the audio module. So the firmware version of this program, which is called the 1541 Ultimate 2 Audio Mod Player by Freshness, apparently does not need those options to be set in configuration in order to find them. So now that we have our mod playing, what can we do? So the first thing is the function keys can be used to toggle voices on and off. So F1 takes care of voice 1. So we can hear that we've lost half of our piano. The other half is on channel 2, and that's toggled by the F3 key. So our piano is all the way gone now. Next we have F5, which toggles voice 3, which is our recorder. All we have left are the strings, which is F7 to toggle. So now everything is off. Bring everything back on. The mod has restarted. So that is one limitation of this program. You can't use it to, for example, have a playlist of multiple mods that it plays in sequence. Once it reaches the end of your mod file, it's going to start again. So our next hotkey controls the volume, and that is Q and A. So if you look at the screen, you can see our main volume is set to 3.0. That's hex. We can actually go louder than that. So if I hit Q, we're going up, and our maximum value is 3F. Conversely, if I hold the A key, we're going to decrease that value. So Q and A. So we're back to 30 our default. Our last command changes the sound from stereo to mono. So if you look next to the volume value, you'll see a red ST right now. That stands for stereo. I'm going to hit S. That changes to MO, and you can hear the sound change to a mono output. That's it. So a very basic program. So one thing of note, if you hit Commodore Restore, we still have the sound playing. That's because some samples in mods have a looping section, so you can have a sustained instrument. And if you happen to exit the program at the time one of these are playing, it's going to go. So if you just go to the power and reset option and hit reset C64, it actually will not exit. It just restarts the mod player and that mod. So in order to totally get out of there, you have to do reboot C64. And we're back to normal. So as I mentioned, this was actually a separate program that was brought into the firmware. And you can actually find it by opening your browser and going to the Commodore 64 Scene Database, or csdb.dk. After you reach that website, just use the search bar in the top right corner, and you're going to search for Ultimate Audio Mod. Hit return, and we've got a couple of results up there. We're going to take the option that says fixed. That's the latest version. And then all you need to do is download the PRG file. It's called module.prg. Copy it to a USB that's on your system. And we're going to try it. So I have it here. It fails. Unlike the version that's in firmware that kind of knows it's on an Ultimate and knows what's available, this version has to have an REU. So it has failed. So we're going to go back into our configuration menu, and then we are going to activate the REU. And then go back to module.prg. Well, we got a little bit further. It detected the REU, but it needs the audio module. The ultimate audio module has to be activated as well. So we are going back again into our configuration. And we're going to activate both the command interface and the ultimate audio option. Oh, one more thing before we run it. It does not have a file browser. So in order to load a file into this program, what you need to do is copy a mod file over to your file system, but we're going to rename it to .reu. So I have one ready here. This chetwax.mod has been renamed to .reu and placed in my file system on the Ultimate 64. Sorry, C64 Ultimate. And I am going to hit load into REU. The data is loaded. Now I'm going to run module.prg. There we go. So the rest of the program functions just like the internal version. Same hotkeys work. As you can see, the screen looks identical. If you exit, same thing happens. If you are on a sustaining note, it will continue playing. Once again, you do need to You do need to go back and select the reboot option and not the reset option. There's a couple more things to keep in mind. The first is the classic PAL versus NTSC music speed. This also affects the mod player. So for those of you that aren't aware, music on a C64 plays slightly faster on NTSC machines. That's due to the faster screen refresh, 60 versus 50 as well as a slightly faster CPU clock speed. So using that affair.mod file, which is really nice because it's got a definite stop and ending. A lot of mod files kind of are built to loop without any break, but this one has nice start and stop points. So using that as a basis on the Amiga version, it turns out that song lasts for 1 minute and 16 seconds. Now, on the C64 Ultimate in PAL mode, same time, 1 minute and 16 seconds. However, when we look at the NTSC version of that song on the C64 Ultimate, it's faster by 3 seconds. It only lasts 1 minute and 13 seconds. So, my advice is if you want to listen to music probably as it was intended, and you live in an NTSC region, run your machine in NTSC 50 mode. That'll give you a very close approximation to the original speed of that mod file. And then the last thing is the built-in mod player only supports ProTracker mod files. If you have, for example, music that's in Scream Tracker format, it will not play. So you do have to stick to plain ProTracker files for it to work. Well, that's it for this video. I know that a lot of us have busy lives, but at some point, I hope that you do have a chance to reboot and remember the past. We'll see you next time.